Hey guys, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Andrew Seegers, and this time we're joined by Derek Bittner and Ash Paulson to discuss a Mario Kart 8 DLC. So let's get started. Alright guys, so Nintendo recently had their big direct, and as part of it they showed off the entirety of the Mario Kart 8 DLC, being new characters, 8 tracks, and of course new vehicles as well. Now I actually got to play some of these tracks myself a few days ago, 4 of them specifically, and I gotta say, they're pretty cool. So based on what you guys have seen, both in the direct and our own gameplay videos, what do you think of everything you've seen so far?
They look amazing. I wouldn't call them all like 100% winners, especially since I haven't played any of them yet. But just from a visual standpoint, they all look really great. They're not just quick cash-ins at all. They look like full-fledged tracks that you'd see in a regular Mario Kart game. So just on that level alone, I'm satisfied. So it's nice to see they didn't get lazy with the tracks like they did with 2 of the characters.
Right. Yeah. No, they really do look great. I mean, you visually you can't tell that they're DLC tracks. Not that you should necessarily be able to, but if I didn't know these were DLC tracks, I would just assume they were part of the core game. You know, that they really do look just like all the tracks that came on the disc. And that's great. They all look really great. In Mute City especially, the F-Zero track looks so good. And I'm really happy with how everything's kind of shaking out, except for the characters, like you said there.
Yeah, the new tracks really do, I mean, they don't feel out of place at all. I mean, they feel like they've been given a ton of love in bringing them to the game. And as I mentioned in the preview, they actually took them a few steps further than a lot of other tracks in the game, having them feature their own unique elements that are true to the original game that they're based on. So in the case of F-Zero, there's no coins at all. Instead, you drive through the recharge strips, which I think is brilliant. In how you acquire coins to build up your top speed. And then in Zelda, there's like a little puzzle. Well, not really a puzzle, but like a puzzle-like thing, where if you activate the 3 diamonds up to the just before the Master Sword, a shortcut appears. I just love those little touches, like the item sound. You get the Zelda item sound.
That's so cool,
box, isn't it?
I love that. Yeah,
that is
and the credits music, the F-Zero credits music that plays when you finish the Mute City race.
Oh, it's so good. I heard that immediately at the event.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, we have to stay on this menu for a few seconds longer. I have to hear more of this music.
No, I love little touches like that. And like you said, the rupees in the Hyrule Circuit stage. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I really love the little touches they're giving these tracks.
No, there's a ton of them. Everybody was going nuts in the comments for your video, Andre, because one of the billboards in Mute City is Captain Falcon going, "Show me your moves." Yep. So just fan touches like that too. Just so good.
Yeah, I mean the attention to detail here is awesome. It's kind of like how Sonic Lost World had the DLC packs for Yoshi and Zelda. I love being able to see this new take on existing IPs. And seeing it in Mario Kart, I think it works even better than I think I imagined it to be. This really is turning into Nintendo Kart in a way. And I'm kind of okay with that.
Yeah, I will not be entirely okay with it until we get a Kirby DLC pack. But once we do, then I will be completely fine with it. Mm-hmm. But Kirby's just so right for Mario Kart. I mean, a Dreamland course would be the coolest thing.
Well, you did see the creepy Kirby outfit I unlocked, right? Where he just stares at everyone behind him.
I did. Yeah, I did like that. Although I think my favorite amiibo outfit is Captain Falcon easily. The other ones are kind of, they're cool, but whatever. But the Captain Falcon one with the mask, I love that.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, it does look good. One of the things I've noticed from the tracks, at least these last few tracks that they revealed, is that they look a lot more challenging than some of the other courses that we've seen for on the disc, like Dragon Driftway. That looks like it could be a really tricky course to play on.
Yeah, well, what I like is that they're actually fully embracing, to some extent, anti-gravity. Because the first few tracks they showed off didn't use it at all, really, and now we're getting some that pretty much use it entirely. F-Zero's all anti-gravity, and the Dragon course, as you mentioned, that's pretty much 90% anti-gravity, except for the starting line, I think. It's the only part that's solid ground, or or that's normal gravity rather. Yeah, and it allows them to do some really cool things with the track. Like in the Dragon one, you double back on top of the track itself or beneath it, however you want to look at it.
Yeah,
you can see the track above you at that point, which is really neat. And then F-Zero, of course, is just like an F-Zero track you would be, twisting all over the place. And yeah, I'm just really digging what they're doing here. And I think you're right, Derek. They are seeming to be a little bit more challenging, particularly with Excite Bike. Changing every time you're on it. It will never be the same thing.
Now, one you didn't get video of, Andre, that I'm really excited to see is Ice Ice Outpost, just because I like snow tracks, but the GameCube or the Double Dash Sherbert Lane isn't really doing it for me. So I'm looking forward to seeing if this new, completely original snow-based track is going to be fun to play on, because I really like those kinds of tracks in Mario Kart games.
There is something about ice tracks, right, that they stand out more than other tracks? I don't know. I really don't know what is about them, but I do have a tendency to like them as well.
I can't claim to have nearly as interesting a reason. I just love cold weather and snow and stuff in real life, so I just like it in my video games too.
That's probably it. That is probably just what it is for me.
Yeah, that's because you guys live in California. You don't have to put up with snow.
That's probably true. Yeah,
that's a good point. Or even in Seattle, we got it once a year, so I appreciate it when it happened, and then it was gone like 2 days later. So.
Right.
No, it's interesting to me that they brought back the SNES version of Rainbow Road as well. We got 3 Rainbow Road courses in this game right now,
and this is the 4th time the track has been remade, or rather, 4th time the track has been in a Mario Kart game.
Is it? It's funny because I've never actually. I don't think I ever played it. Which games did it pop up in?
It was in the original Super NES version, of course. In Super Circuit, they had all the Super Nintendo tracks. Then it was remade in Mario Kart 7, and now again in Mario Kart 8.
I never played any of those 3 games before this, so this is my first experience with SNES Rainbow Road. So, is that course any good?
I like it a lot, personally. I was actually really happy when I found out that SNES Rainbow Road is back, which is interesting because I actually had a fan tweet at me yesterday saying that he or she was really unhappy, and I'm like, because it was already back in Mario Kart 7, and I'm like, honestly, it was one of my consistently most favorite tracks to play in 7, and I'm really happy to see it back in 8, and it's got the kind of the same background that the Mario Kart 64 Rainbow Road has in Mario Kart 8. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to playing in HD as well. They can bring back that track as many times as they want, for all I care.
Well, Derek, if you want to talk about hard tracks, that's got to be one of the toughest ones, at least in the original game.
It is tough.
There are no walls at all. You have to watch out for those electrified thwomps. And it is quite easy, at least in the original game, to get knocked off or take a corner too hot and just slide off the course. It was not unusual to fall off multiple times in that track.
It's a very fast track.
It is.
For some reason, it feels faster than a lot of other tracks. I don't know why that is, but there were certain tracks in like Mario Kart 7 that felt faster for whatever reason. Kind of like how the Wario Stadium DS feels faster, Andre, in this one.
Right, yeah, it's true.
And this is one of those tracks that just feels faster for some reason. So for that reason, it's kind of exhilarating, in my opinion. It's an exciting track to play.
Part of it, too, I think, is that it's completely flat. There are no bank turns here. So it feels a little bit like you're going off the rails every time you take a corner in that track.
Yeah, I mean, you really do have to take every corner perfectly because there are no walls, like you said, and you will go flying right off if you're not careful about what you're doing.
Yep.
This could be a real cluster with 12 players.
I do worry about that, and I actually wonder if maybe they've lengthened it, or maybe at least made the track a little bigger, or maybe wider to accommodate for that, because it's gonna, you're right, Derek, it's gonna be a mess with 12 players.
Now, another track that's being remade is Wario's Gold Mine, and we finally got a better look of it this time, where we can see basically the other half of the track. And we can see they are basically doing what I suggested, where they turned the second part into anti-gravity. But they're actually also doing something cool that one of our viewers suggested when I put out the original video, and that is the mine carts are actually in anti-gravity too. Like, they're actually, running on anti-gravity themselves. So when you run into them, you'll get a speed boost, which I think is a really cool touch. Like, it's a really smart way of enhancing this track for Mario Kart 8. Well, I know you didn't care about the track originally, or rather Mario Kart Wii, Ash, because you didn't like that game. So how do you feel about this track coming back?
I don't know. I'm trying to keep an open mind, just because Mario Kart 8 does have the capability of making Mario Kart Wii tracks shine in HD and just and kind of making me see these tracks in a new light. So I didn't like Mario Kart Wii at all. I really didn't like Wario's Gold Mine, but I'm going to try to keep an open mind and hope that I end up enjoying it. Well, speaking of Wario in general, now with Wario's Gold Mine, I think he has more courses named after him in this game than anyone else.
Yeah,
he does.
Yeah, which is it's kind of random because Wario's fine and all, but he's not usually highlighted in that many tracks in one game.
Right. Yeah. I don't know why, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
So do you guys have a favorite track or a favorite specific detail you noticed about anything in the DLC?
For me, it just has to be probably Mute City in general. That's the easy answer, but I love F-Zero, and this just gives me hope that Nintendo hasn't actually forgotten about the series entirely, and that there may actually be a new game in the future, because there's so much of what makes F-Zero so unique in that track.
There really is. Yeah.
So I think that's probably the easy answer. But I'm also very excited about SNES Rainbow Road just because I like that track.
Mm-hmm.
I have to agree with Ash. Mute City is probably the one that just blew me away the most, and it looks so much fun. It looks, it looks so different, but it really embraces the F-Zero games, and I love it for that. Otherwise, I think Dragon Driftway is another one I really like. I like the challenging. I like all the drifting that'll happen. It looks to be very interesting.
Yeah, that was a really fun one to play. I actually had fun on really all of them. I would say Excite Bike is the one I was probably the least excited for. Simply because I already knew exactly how that track was going to play based on my breakdown, and taking aside the randomized elements, it's a simple course, but I do look forward to seeing how they'll change, time to time.
It actually looks bigger than what I was imagining in my head, because when you say Baby Park, I expect a very small course. And no, it's actually quite big.
Yeah, it's huge. Like those straightaways are very long. I mean, it's, as I predicted in the analysis, it is just a 3-lap track, because each of those is each of those straightaways is super long. So
yeah, well, and I also can't help but wonder how the metagame will shake out for that track, because sometimes taking jumps is a little slower than not taking jumps, because you tend to slow down just a bit at the the apex of your jump. Mm-hmm. So I feel like if you play that track and you take every jump you come across, you might actually end up having a worse lap time than if you were to avoid some of those jumps. So I think it's going to be interesting seeing how people end up with the best times on that course. Yeah,
well, then there's a fact too, you can skip the jumps entirely by boosting along the grass on the side if you have a mushroom or star. Right. So yeah, there are definitely going to be some interesting things with that track, I think. So what do you guys think about the characters? We've finally seen a little bit more of them. I got played them and showed them off in our videos. What do you think about having Tanuki Mario, Cat Peach, and Link here?
Link's cool. The rest, I mean, come on. Diddy Kong is still missing. There were so many. I mean, there was the Honey Queen in Mario Kart Wii. I mean,
nobody wants her back.
Yeah, exactly. I'm totally
it's true. But I'm just saying, Mario Kart Wii had a much
more
then
bring up Birdo.
Yeah, Birdo or Funky Kong. Like, I'm just
Bowser Jr.
It had such a more interesting roster than this game. Like, Mario Kart 8 is missing so many of those characters, and instead they bring us 2 more versions or another version each of Mario and Peach. I don't get it.
Yeah. I will say they at least made Tanuki Mario a bit more personable, at least with his trick jumps. I mean, him turning into the statue.
I love that.
That's kind of cool.
I do love that.
So I think seeing that alone kind of softened me on the whole thing. Like, oh, that's kind of awesome.
That's cool. Nothing about Cat Peach is softened me to her. The thing that I took away watching the Hyrule Castle track, Link looks so damn happy. He's just smiling all the time as he's doing his tricks and all that stuff. I don't think I've ever seen Link just so happy.
Yeah, he is very happy. Yeah, he looks really happy. And I don't know, there's something off to me about Link's dimensions, though. Like, it's weird. He looks like he's supposed to be Skyward Sword Link, but he's a little short. And I don't know, he looks a little weird to me.
When I was making the preview thumbnail for the video, it looks like his head is gigantic in this game.
That's what it's that, right? Yeah, there's something off about his dimensions. I mean, he still looks fine, and I love his various jump animations and like you guys said, Tanuki Mario, his animations, they're cool. I just still would rather have seen more diverse characters personally.
Alright, before we wrap things up here, I just want to mention how the online's going to work, because I was wondering about that, like what would happen if you were mixed in a room with people who both have and don't have the DLC. And so I actually contacted Nintendo about that, and they got back to me with a response saying if you're in a room with people who don't have the DLC, those tracks won't be available to choose. And so I tweeted that out, because people wanted to know how it was going to work, and that's what Nintendo told me. Now, some journalists follow up further on that, and apparently there will actually be different set lists, or different playlists, basically, that you can choose to play on if you have the DLC or not. So there'll be an option to play with the original 32 tracks only, or if you have the DLC, then you'll be able to choose a playlist, whatever they call it, that has all of the tracks. And I think that's actually a smart way of handling it. That way people who have the DLC can enjoy it, and those who don't won't even have to worry about it. Alright, well, I think we're done here, so thanks for watching. If you liked our discussion, make sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain, which you can find links to in the description below. It's a good way to keep up to date on everything we post, and of course keep an eye on GameXplain.com for more on Mario Kart 8 and other things gaming as well. Alright, thanks guys, bye.